Hello, I'm Todd Phillips, the editor of Canadian Auto Dealer. We're here today with Greg Wallin, the Senior VP of Sales for Canada with CDK Global, and with Sandy Orlando, the Senior VP of Product Management. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Todd. Really appreciate your time today.
Thanks for the time.
Okay, Greg, we'll dive in and start with you because, we've met at NADA before and we're used to all going down and having a big industry show, networking, figuring out where the industry's at. Can't do it exactly this year, but tell us about your own NADA experience so far. At this point of the interview, we're about halfway through the event. And so you would have had some experience with exhibitors, the dealers coming by. And what's it been like for you guys so far?
Well, I mean, obviously we would all prefer to be together, shaking hands, face to face. The interactions aren't exactly the same when it's virtual, but we all do the best we can. That being said, it's been an interesting event. Certainly from the CDK perspective, again, we don't have the same interaction we have, but the interactions we have been having have been very fruitful, very useful, and informative from both sides. So I always look personally to NADA for sort of a different experience with clients. I mean, I see clients day to day and in their dealerships. When we get clients outside of the dealerships, it is a bit of a different experience, we'll call it that. Certainly something I miss, but it has been productive. So CDK has a full online virtual booth that clients can go and poke around, certainly interact with people. And if they want to get more detail, they can book a session either with one of our solution consultants for a demo or a talk with either me or one of my team. So it's been certainly a good experience. If you look at the attendance from the NADA side and the Canadian attendees, it's certainly down from a traditional on-site piece, but people are also looking at getting information in other ways. So that's understandable. But no, so far a good show. Looking forward to the next couple of days.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move now maybe to Sandy. You're fairly new to CDK, and I think you're in charge on the product development side. And typically, a lot of dealers like to come down at NADA and figure out what's new. They go through the booth demos. They get a sense of sort of new things in the works, and often companies hold back their product announcements to NADA to help generate some excitement. So what would you have been really showcasing for those that do come by the virtual booth this year, if you will?
Yes, and not only for those stopping by the virtual booth, but as Greg mentioned, we also get the opportunity to set up appointments, and that allows us to do a deeper dive than maybe somebody would have time to in a normal booth setting. But there's three areas that we're really focusing on here at NADA. One of them is around data and the ability to harness and capture data, whether it's coming from the huge volumes from connected vehicle, the amount of data that's coming in from dealerships and OEMs regarding the digital buying experience, or data that we collect and normalize on a regular basis. And we've introduced a new platform around data called Neuron. And the mission of Neuron is to take the volumes of data that in some cases are too big, too much velocity, too much noise to capture and separate the signal from the noise. And so what Neuron does is allow us to provide insights from that curated data and deliver those insights to our dealer community. So we're showcasing that here at NADA. The second area that we're showcasing is really around our ecosystem with Fortellis. And Fortellis is both a commerce exchange as well as a developer marketplace. The hallmark of Fortellis really, though, is to bring open and agnostic capabilities to allow more seamless integration across the industry. And in fact, not only are we having people come in to NADA virtually as dealers, but we have a huge development community participating in NADA and some of the new initiatives in that area. And then the third is just the innovations that we've delivered around our entire product portfolio, whether it's in the digital retailing sales portion of the business with new APIs, for example, with eLead, all the way through our DMS and service and support. So there's a lot of excitement here at NADA around data, around APIs, and really about bringing that all together for our dealers, our OEMs, and developers.
Well, it sounds like a full plate of development for sure, and there's some new innovation. I'm sure dealers will be keen to learn more. Greg, if you will, I want to maybe dive in on just one of those areas that Sandy had referenced, which is the digital retailing space. Obviously, the pandemic on both sides of the border caused lockdowns, caused dealers to sort of accelerate their move into digital retailing more quickly. I'm sure you guys have felt that and felt that pressure from your dealers to work with them to make things more integrated. Are you seeing it sort of sticking with dealers now? There's been some talk that there was initial flurry, but then they just want to rebound back to the way things were done before. So how are you feeling? What's your sense of optimism in terms of this being a more permanent shift?
Well, I think it will be a theme that won't change. There's no question. I'll put it in this context. My daughter bought a car probably about 3 months ago that was mostly done online, not entirely. I'm an older guy. People my age and older will probably still go into the dealerships, but the youth of today are certainly more driven to online experience. And I don't think that's going to go away. Has it dropped a tiny bit in terms of activity from the first wave of the pandemic from March, April? Yeah, it has, but I think that was a bit of panic, and people weren't used to the atmosphere that was going to be surrounding them while this was going on. As we've gone through one of the waves, I realized that the earth wasn't going to fall apart, and dealerships were going to not only continue, but in places thrive. That has come down a little bit, but it's a trend that is going to continue for sure. There is a segment of the population, and even, again, I'll use me as an example. I might not go and buy a car completely online, but the amount of research I'm going to do online is far greater than it was, even 5 years ago. So no, that's not a trend that is going to change. I think the dealerships, my opinion is, still have a strong place. I don't see yet that there are a lot of deliveries at the client's driveway. Most of that, most clients still want to go and look at a vehicle, touch and smell it, including my daughter. But again, most of the transaction is done online. The physical pickup and final sign-off on contracts might be in the dealership. And I don't see that changing.
Thanks. Maybe one more question for you, Sandy, on that broader technology shift of, you mentioned integration as well with all the tools. For dealers, I'm sympathetic at times that they'll say, it's a bit of a spaghetti map universe of integration across their whole, from a CRM system and a DMS system and the leads and e-leads and all the different website lead providers that are into their operations. Do you see on that roadmap for the future kind of a more integrated approach for dealers? Is that something that you're working towards to try to help simplify, if you will, the execution of that digital experience?
Absolutely. This is a vibrant industry. There's a lot of participants in the industry. There's changes not only in how we look at digital retailing and everything electronically, but there's certainly changes happening because of connected vehicle, electric vehicles, and there's going to be even more information flowing to dealers. And so part of our investment strategy is to really harness all that information on the data side with Neuron and bring that all together. But that data gets exchanged and shared not only within CDK and its products, but to the broader ecosystem with Fortellis. And what's interesting about, Fortellis is we've seen a dramatic increase in the number of APIs being developed off of Fortellis, not only for the CDK itself, but the broader ecosystems. We've also seen more applications on the marketplace, and we've seen that across both US and Canada. And we're going to be approaching around 100 million transactions on Fortellis this year. So it's exciting to see not only the volume, but how we're bringing that together in the ecosystem. The second thing, if I flash forward, it's not just providing a place for APIs and data to be shared, but it's also how do we bring workflows together? So part of what we're investing in is to take some of those applications that are developed by third parties on Fortellis and embed those capabilities into CDK core workflows. And that allows our dealers to take advantage of new capabilities from the marketplace right within their existing CDK workflows.
It's very interesting. And just on the data point, I know there's a lot of interest among dealers to trying to monetize the data. They're trying to, with this connected vehicles and otherwise. I know up in Canada, the Canadian Automobile Dealer Association, CADA, is very keen on trying to figure out what the revenue streams are. They're concerned the dealers will be left out of that. They're not going to be able to manage that data. And there may well be revenue sources through subscription, other sort of in-vehicle opportunities that unless they can master that data, that they'll just be on the sidelines. It'll maybe stream to the OEM or other third parties. So I'm very interested to hear more. Can't get into all that right now in this conversation, but I appreciate both of you for joining us here today. Maybe that's a chat for another day, because I think that's going to be a hot topic. But thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for your time and for your interest. We're very excited about the vibrancy of the market, the opportunities ahead of us, and whether it's data, APIs, or digital retailing. And at CDK, we're making the investments to support our dealers, the OEMs, and developers together.
Awesome. Greg, maybe last word from you.
So again, just thank you for your time. Appreciate the conversation. Enjoy the next couple of days with NADA.
Thank you. You as well. Thanks. Signing off.